Hey everyone, welcome to the Handy at the Shandy podcast. I'm Boring Jack. I'm joined by Table Games James and Adam the Fraud. And this is the fifth episode. And on this one, Adam wanted to open talking about hotel mini bars before we get into my trip report. So I'm going to clear the floor to him right away.
and it's not even a mini bar. I am completely flabbergasted by how every day there's a new person online who is completely surprised by the prices of hotel mini bars. I think every day I see a tweet, and I actually saw, you probably haven't seen it, there was a guy on Reddit. I'm assuming it's a guy. Excuse me for being sexist. This is probably the second episode in a row where I offend a whole swath of people, but it was at MGM Grand, I believe. He tried to get them to remove all of the items from the mini bar out of the room. And They said, we will do that, but it's going to cost you $65. Now, mind you, this isn't a guy who accidentally picked up a Baby Ruth. The sensor went off and they charged him. He was trying to get a charge reverse. He wanted them to remove everything from the mini bar. And I guess that cost $65 across MGM properties. And my feeling is if you have that level of temptation that you can't even not pick up a small bottle of Jack Daniels, you should not be anywhere near a casino at this point. I'm completely floored by what I'm seeing right now, and I just had to get it off my chest. This is new segment, Adam vents for a couple minutes.
I do think the mini bar thing, it's no matter how much you prepare yourself for both the judiciousness with which they will refill it and charge you, and prepare yourself for what the prices are, you can still be surprised on both aspects though. I remember when
Sure.
a Fiji at the Cosmo, one of the larger ones, but it was $20. And I was like, well, that's the most insane price you'll ever see for a Fiji water. And then 2 weeks later, it was $28 at Aria. Right.
Right.
So there's actually probably no cap on what they could charge for that.
Of course. And unless you have mobility issues, I don't care about your grievances with minibar prices, right? That's a convenience fee. The further you get from your room, the less expensive all that's going to be. Till eventually you're in Omaha and it's yeah, you can just have this bottle of Fiji for 50 cents and that's fine. I'm assuming that's what the prices are in Omaha. I don't understand. It's not the cost. It's just the audacity to be surprised at this point.
We had the Cheetos incident in the room. This was a couple years ago at Cosmo with my buddy was reaching to plug his phone in to an outlet behind the minibar and brushed up against the Doritos bag that was sitting there. And I was like, don't fucking touch the Doritos. They're going to get charged for it. And he thought I was being hyperbolic or overreacting to just him lightly brushing up against it. And then sure as shit, a sitcom, a guy burst through the door 25 minutes later, here to refill your Doritos with a bag in hand that he's showing at us. And we're we didn't touch it. We didn't take the Doritos. They're still there. But it's remarkable how sensitive those things are.
I have never been tempted though. Do people legitimately sit there and be like, oh man, I'm so tempted, I need to grab this? I've never been in that situation.
I've only minibar done that.
Okay, that's on you.
But I did it because I knew what the price was. This was when that large Fiji was $10. It used to be the same price in the Cosmo minibar as it was at the gift shop down below, which is still way too much to pay for whatever it is, a liter of water. But I have paid it. And I did know what the price was, and I did it on purpose.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You did it on purpose. I'm talking about just sitting there, the people who are
right.
Man, you gotta take this out of here.
Get it away from me.
You get it away from me. And what are you gonna do? Go down to the casino floor and be like, if you could just move that blackjack table, please, or else I'm not gonna make it. My only mini bar story that I have is when I was at Fontainebleau this summer. I got my folio and it was $19 minibar. And Kim and I didn't even stay in that room. So I know that I didn't do anything. So I had to call them and I'm like, hey, we didn't take anything. I know that. And they're like, okay, we'll do an audit. They called it an audit. They said, we'll do an audit of the minibar.
Guy in a
we'll let you know.
A clipboard.
Yeah. And that's talking minibars.
That's the thing. What is so tempting? It's just a lazy tax. I'm completely fine with it. I've taken a bottle of water and then paid for it, whatever. But is this guy just get this sensual kit away from me because I'm feeling way too frisky solo tonight? I've got a feeling I'm gonna open this edible underwear and go to town.
Yeah, that KY is tempting right now.
Right.
Ah.
This took a turn.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get to your trip report, Jack. If we're doing a segment at the beginning of what's pissing us off in online Vegas right now.
For listeners too, like right before this, Jack was like, "All right, I'm gonna go into my trip report." I'm like, "Wait! I have something to say."
All right, are we ready to get into my trip report from my most recent stay in Vegas?
Actually, I have one thing I want to bring up.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Let's talk about Fat Elvis.
All right, so this one I kind of foreshadowed a bit on the last episode, but this is a Friday night through Tuesday morning trip with 2 nights downtown at the D and 2 nights at the Cosmopolitan. And on Friday, we've kind of gone through a lot of my pre-trip ritual stuff, but it wouldn't be a Jack trip report if we didn't spend a little more time on the plane than necessary. So I want to talk a little bit about one of my favorite things to watch on the plane on the way to Vegas. And I must have seen this thing like 30 times now, but it's the BBC documentary by Louis Theroux about gambling in Las Vegas. And it's kind of alarming how kind of degenerate and disturbing some of the behavior of the people in this documentary is, which is kind of why it's a good documentary. But the other part that's alarming about it is that when you see it, it does make you want to gamble, even though you're just like watching people lose extraordinary sums of money in ways that they can't control. One of my friends likened it to a nature documentary where the narrator is reminding you how beautiful nature is while you see like an animal get like eaten alive. And that's kind of how I feel about it. It's like, look how beautiful Vegas is. And then you just see someone lose like $7 million.
It's not like Werner Herzog, who's like actively hating every situation he's in. Like Louis like really takes to it. Although the documentary doesn't make me want to visit Westgate. So it's not like that good, but it is great.
Yeah, me and my friends really like the line. And he's like, I'd be staying tonight at one of Las Vegas's finest properties, the Las Vegas Hilton. And you're like, one of its finest properties. This was filmed after the Wynn opened, and this is one of the finest. I mean, like they agreed to be in the documentary, so they get some good press, and that's good for them. But so we got to watch that on the flight after a couple old fashions prepared in the usual style. And I did have a private car booked to downtown for just me and my 2 friends that were on this flight. It ultimately ended up being 6 of us on this trip, but only 3 of us on the flight. So we just booked a Rivian SUV to downtown. And I think all in after tip, it was like $120. And I like doing that. I like having your name on the sign waiting for you at the gate, especially when you're going with friends that don't necessarily go to Vegas all that often. It's kind of like a fun thing to do. And so first thing we do is check in at the D. And one thing that they do that's kind of cool there, that for whatever reason we didn't get to take advantage of last year, but they have a tap behind the hotel check-in for like Molson Canadian Light, some sort of shitty light beer. And you just get like a free little, like, I don't know, 6-ounce beer at check-in. I think that's a cool amenity. I don't know why more places don't do that. It's cheap and free. The alcohol's free everywhere else.
Yeah,
well, I mean, it wouldn't be free for the hotel would have to pay for it still.
Right, but it's nearly free. I mean,
it's Canadian. It's and you're paying in Canadian, so it's
exactly.
it's at least 70%. So
that's perfect for downtown. Because you go to like an all-inclusive in Cancun, like they greet you with champagne. But like, the D, it's definitely like Molson or what is it, Bud Ice? I think I drank that in college once, like going old school. I like that idea.
Jack, I don't like you dissing Molson. Molson is one of my beer of choice when I'm out. If I see a bar here in Pennsylvania that carries Molson Canadian, I'm like, give me a Molson.
Yeah, this is that, but even worse. So our very first stop, we went and immediately picked up my buddy TC, who was hanging out at the Long Bar, and we went on to Glitter Gulch Tiki, which the thing about Glitter Gulch Tiki that we noticed first is that it was empty. And this is actual Vegas, 7:40 p.m. on a Friday night. And there's like one guy at the bar and then like a group of 3 and then like seating for 100. And there's just no one there, which I don't know, was kind of a bummer. It seemed kind of like a cool spot. All the cocktails were $18, which I don't think is exorbitant for the kind of style of drinks that we got. They were served in, nice ceramic tiki mugs. We got an order of pot stickers, so they did have a kitchen there. You could get appetizers and stuff like that. I would be pretty happy to go back there, actually. We only just did the one round there, got a bit of food, and then moved on. But I don't know. I liked the spot. It just, if what I saw was any omen, they're not doing super well.
It's that hashtag Vegas is dead
Yeah,
trend going on right now.
I would
why
have
didn't
said
you
it.
take a photo? You should have taken a photo and shared it on X for the pod and said hashtag Vegas is dead.
Las
Yeah.
Vegas's most popular tiki bar, empty. So yeah, we immediately went next door to Nacho Daddy, and their food there's a lot of it. I think that's one of the things you need to know, is that like you need to go with people that you can split stuff with, because we did like an order of 3 tacos and a plate of nachos, and it was plenty of food for the 3 of us. Got some beer flights. I like that place a lot. It also wasn't super busy, but I think the food there is exactly what you need just off Fremont Street like that. Like,
Yeah.
would that there be more places like Nacho Daddy around, I think.
Good value, perfect downtown place. Yeah.
Do you think that with the visitation coming down, like if there are less people in Vegas, are those like slightly off the main area? Are those going to get hit first? Right? Like, is that where it's going to lose? Because, if the Strip or if Fremont's not as busy, then I won't kind of, leak into those other places.
I think that's a good question. And I don't actually know that. And I've thought about this when people say like, oh, visitation's down 10%. That's a large number because X, Y, and Z. And then you think about like everywhere you go in Vegas, and would you notice if there were 10% fewer people? And obviously, I think the answer is no. And thus the question is then like, yeah, where some places are obviously getting hit harder than others, and where are those places? I don't know. You could just as easily make an argument the other way, right? Like,
right, yeah.
Sure, Vegas is dead, but downtown's doing great because they still offer these deals, or they still blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
Before bed on Friday night, all we did is play a bit more craps at the D and introduce some people to rolling dice at the table. And we each got a roll in. I think some people had decent rolls, others didn't, but everyone won money. I won like $50 and my friends won a little more than that. So that was kind of a cool way to cap off the night, and got to bed reasonably early. I left my friends at the View Bar and hit the sack because I knew I wanted to get up early to try to stay on a good schedule. And Friday morning when I got up, I walked over to Circa to play some video poker. I like playing at the overhang bar there up on the second floor. So not actually at those bar top machines that overlook the sports book, but at that bar nearby. And like I lamented on the last podcast, they are indeed missing their best video poker games. They kind of used to, at all of Derek Stevens' main bars at all 3 properties, you could find 8-6 bonus deluxe, which is about a 98.5 return to player game. Now that's only available at dollars. So what I did is I played dollars. And so in some sense, you got me. But in another sense, like, fuck you. Like, this is downtown and I'm being forced to play like dollar video poker. It's like, what are we even doing here? I learned from the bartender there that the mega bar, the main casino bar at Circa, they don't even have quarter video poker anymore. It's all 50 cent at single line, which strikes me as kind of crazy. But if there's any property downtown that can make that change and pull it off, it's probably Circa.
Yeah, it's still kind of a bummer though. And we've talked about this of like they're doing strip things but don't have strip quality, and so it's kind of a bummer to see. How was like the drink service though?
It was good. I was just getting like sugar-free Red Bull to wake up in the morning, but that's one of the reasons I kind of like those bars at Circa is the bartenders there are really friendly. A lot of them are like practicing their like flair bartending skills because it's like the really dead period. So they kind of have those dummy liquor bottles that they can juggle, that are just like filled halfway with water so that you can juggle them as if you might a real bottle of liquor. So it's kind of fun to watch them kind of like practice various tricks and stuff like that if they're bored, or I don't know. It's kind of a cool spot to be in. I think all the bright screens at Circa make it feel like it's daylight, even if it's just kind of early in the morning. So it wakes you up a little better. I don't know. I really like the environment there. And so, like I said, I was playing dollar video poker, and I'm playing bonus deluxe, which is a variant of video poker where all 4 of a kinds pay the same, but they all pay extra. And so at dollars, they pay $400 for any 4 of a kind you can get. And so my goal was like, I'm going to put in $400, and then if I lose that, I lose it, but I'm going to try to hit a 4 of a kind before I run out. Right. And this is a topic I kind of wanted to bring up with you guys because I felt like in that session, I was kind of like playing with scared money, right? Like, because I set myself like a budget that I knew I didn't want to go past. And so I only have the $400 to gamble with before my friends wake up. And so if that goes quickly, which it can, then I'm just kind of, I guess I'm done gambling for the morning. And I was also kind of afraid to lose in the sense that like we finished the night up like $50 on the trip. And that was pretty cool. And then like if by the time my friends wake up, I'm like, oh yeah, I lost that 50 plus another like 350 just playing like dollar denom I shouldn't have even been on in the first place. I would have kind of felt like an idiot. That's kind of why I wanted to bring up this topic of like playing with scared money, because I feel like gambling is more fun if you're afraid to lose the funds you're gambling with. But then also that sounds very unhealthy and unpleasant, right?
I mean, I saw that you highlighted this and you're like, hey, let's talk about playing with scared money. I don't think I've ever thought of it or felt. I feel like I'm always, and we've talked about this before. I feel like I'm always playing at a level that's just slightly uncomfortable,
Right.
and or I'm going way down. Like and maybe I'm always playing scared. Then if I'm like, oh man, like I really don't want to lose this money right now. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to. My bigger thing was when you were like, I'm putting $400 in here and playing dollar video poker, and I don't want to tell my friends I lost $400. I'm like, well, that's where we're different, because if I lost that 400, I'd be like, yeah, that's what I do. I lose money, so you better accept me as a friend.
I think part of it was also that it's just like we're still downtown. I'm still like it's early in the morning. I should be like low rolling, and instead I'm losing like I don't know sums that are a sum greater than I bought into the craps table with the previous night. Right? Like obviously later on the trip, I could swing up or down like 1,000 at a time at an Ultimate X machine, but something about the circumstance made me feel like it would be just kind of a dumb move. I don't know.
Yeah,
What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a difference between doing something dumb while you're gambling and then truly being afraid, right? Because I think of like scared money, like Jack, you play poker, where it's like scared money in poker, like you're not being aggressive, you're not making the right plays because you're being too conservative. But with this, it's just like you knew this was kind of a stupid thing to do for downtown, but it wasn't necessarily stupid for your bankroll. So it'd just be like that embarrassment you get when you take a shower, like you're just alone, be like, why the hell did I do that? But like, I always kind of like, not that I want to be scared, but like, it doesn't matter if I'm playing at a $5 craps table. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be upset if I lost, with a $300 buy-in versus $1,000 playing 15, right? And like, I think that is, I don't want to say healthy behavior because some psychologists listening to be like, no, that's not healthy at all. But like, it's almost like you're not a gambler unless you get a little bit upset most of the time. Again, that's probably not healthy in the slightest, but that's just kind of how I feel. But at the same time, being completely elated when something cool happens as well.
Right. And so I only realized this because I realized I was getting excited for hitting like a $40 full house and be like, whoo, I get like 8 more hands. Right.
Right.
Because I think I got down to $60 in the machine and then did hit a 4 of a kind and was pretty stoked about that because it was like, okay, I wiped away all the losses. I'm up $60 in the morning. And now I have enough money that I should be able to gamble until my friends wake up and we can get some donuts or what have you.
Right.
And so part of it was, it's not necessarily about the shame of explaining the losses, more about that, like I had already set a hard budget in my head. And so it was like each spin is getting closer to being your last.
Yeah. Yeah. And that feels kind of awesome in a sense. Like I had a good run with you, Jack. I think the last time you and I were together at Resorts World where I put money in, I really want to be gambling more at Palazzo, but I'm like, we want to go to Resorts World. Let's gamble. I think I got down to like a couple spins. We're playing like 750 Ultimate X. Do you remember?
Right. I'm just remembering this now. Yeah.
And I ran it up to like over $1,000 just by hitting.
You hit like 2 $400 hits in a row.
Yeah. And it just kept building and building. And like that felt so good only because I had gotten so low. Again, this is probably super unhealthy behavior, right? But if I had just been treading water that whole time, like it would have been fine. And it would have been a fun session to hang out with you. And I think Chris was our bartender at that point too. But it was only so much fun because just clawing back, and it was a bit exhilarating, right? It was just kind of happening so quickly. So I don't know.
I think what you're saying, Jack, about like, and I'm going to agree with Adam here. Is it scared money, or is it just like, man, I really shouldn't be doing this? Like, and I think that's what it is. And like, if I'm, because I've been that position before where, okay, I want to play a lot at this property to make sure that I'm getting these tier credits or whatever, because I'm there for, whatever, a 10x multiplier or something. But friends want to go to, I don't know, Resorts World. And I'm like, well, all right, I'll put this $500 in the machine. And I'm in my head thinking every time I press, if I'm not winning money here, then this is less money that I can play at the property that I was going to play at, something I had planned, and this is unplanned. And then that kind of cycles through. Definitely healthy.
Yeah, completely healthy. We're all on board. That's super healthy to play afraid whenever you go into a casino.
Yep, for sure.
You should be terrified.
Terrified.
So
play.
When I hit that 4 of a kind, I bragged to the bartender a bit like, woo, we did it. We were almost down to the felt. We got it, whatever I said. And he was like, oh, have you ever played Shockwave video poker? We have that on these machines. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know what that is. And because this is a video poker podcast, apparently, I'll just share what that is. And it's a form of video poker in which if you hit a 4 of a kind, you enter Shockwave mode. And what that means is for the next 10 hands, and you still have to pay to play all 10 hands, but for the next 10 hands, all 4 of a kinds pay the same as a royal flush. So they pay 800 times your wager. And
what are you giving up for that?
Oh, I don't really even know.
I think it's an extra credit.
Oh, is it just a 6 credit game?
I could be wrong.
Yeah, it could be. I've played it once. Don't really recall much about it, but it was funny because we were like, well, what are the odds that you would actually get a 4 of a kind in those 10 hands? And I was like, well, let's see if I can do one here in the next 10. And then 3 hands later, I got 4 7s. I had 3 7s and drew to the 4th.
Nice.
And was like, oh yeah, in Shockwave, you would have to like throw away full houses and stuff to try to get it. But here I just managed to get one. And so I think I ended up giving that back and ended up pretty even on the morning. But that was kind of a fun video poker session, especially with an artificially constrained budget. And I don't know, thought it was kind of worth talking about. We then did our tradition of picking up donuts and taking them down to Ferguson's Motel and Mothership Coffee. And so ever since the donut bar closed that was on Carson, we now just go to the Pink Box Donuts at Plaza. And I think they have a really fun selection of donuts. I see James looks kind of puzzled. I wonder if he just doesn't know about Ferguson's Motel. So
I'm questioning that too.
No, I'm spending time trying to look up Shockwave because now I feel like an idiot in my bot, because I have played it before and it was probably just me not paying attention at a bar of like, I'll play this quarter or whatever thing is. So I was trying to find really quickly without it being obvious that I was doing that to see if it's an extra coin, and I can't tell very quickly on Wizard of Oz. So for all of our video poker Shockwave fanatics, you can come at me in the comments.
Well, I just like Jack going, well, let's figure out, how likely it is, and then saying like, I'm going to take this really small sample size.
Well, yeah, let's just see. I mean, but that's the way people like to gamble, right? We were like, oh, what are the chances you're going to do this? And you're well, why don't we throw the dice and we'll see if I can hit a 5? And then you do, and everyone goes crazy, right? Like it's Babe Ruth's called shot over here at the Circa Overhang Bar.
So sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What were we talking about? Mini bars in the hotel? Is that where we were at?
Ferguson's. The hotel mini bar at Ferguson's is outrageous.
Perfect.
So we picked up a bunch of donuts and walked them on down. It's not quite as far as Atomic Liquors. I think it's like 1 block closer to the Fremont Street Experience on Fremont than Atomic Liquors is, if you've ever made that walk. But it's down at maybe about like 11th Street. So I don't know, 6 blocks from Las Vegas Boulevard. It's not super far. And it's this old motel that got converted into a bunch of kind of like boutique shops. So like each room is kind of like some sort of like clothing store or jewelry store or something else I'm not interested in buying. But in the center of it, they kind of have like this park area with like artificial grass and a coffee shop right in the middle. That is kind of like, I think, a local Vegas coffee roaster chain called Mothership. And we generally go there for coffee and tea and eat our donuts. And that's kind of our morning tradition on our first morning in town.
Does that have like the weird semi-truck artwork in there? Is that the place?
Exactly. It's called Big Rig Jig.
I know a little bit. Yeah. That was going to be the name of this podcast before we changed it.
Yeah.
I was.
Look for the big, like bent out of shape semi-truck sculpture that's there. It's pretty cool. It's a nice spot. If only there was more there that actually grabbed me than that coffee shop. But
all right, go there and you don't have to go to 7 Magic Mountains where those painted rocks are out in the desert. You'll get the same experience.
So the next thing I checked out was Stadium Swim. I hadn't been there before, but it really had felt like I had. Like I had this, it was like weird deja vu where I think I've seen it in enough like vlogs and pictures and promotional material that like once I got out there, I was like, wait, I know this place.
I'm home.
I mean, every advertisement I get for Circa on any of the meta platforms is just Stadium Swim.
Yeah. I love the people who have like they want the Stadium Swim view in their room. It's like I don't are you watching the game from there? Like that seems like a terrible experience to me.
I feel so uncomfortable when I have a good view of the pool from my room because I'm like, this is way too creepy for me right now.
It's voyeuristic. You take out the sensual kit from the mini bar and you go, you know what? It's time.
It's time.
I can't help myself anymore.
Please, $65. Take it away from me.
Get it out of here.
I probably only spent about 30 or 40 minutes there, but just long enough to hit the limit of being outside with no sunscreen on. And so I spent a little bit of time in the pool, spent a little bit of time just lounging in a chair. But then the plan was to take a cab to Resorts World to get some gambling in there with some of my friends, mostly at their center bar. I stopped and said hi to the bartenders at the Crockford's High Limit. We got a bit of food on my F&B credit and then kind of posted up at the center bar to play some video poker. And I still think that's one of the best bars in Vegas to play video poker at. Mm-hmm. The bartenders there, super cool, super attentive. They make good cocktails. The machines are all in good shape. I mean, the pay tables are bad, but they're no worse than the ones you find at any other strip property, right? Like they're better than all the Caesars and as bad as the worst MGM ones, right?
Yeah. Are they comping everything on their the cocktail menu?
I don't think any of us, that's a great question. I don't think any of us ordered a menu drink to try and find out. And they do still at that bar have kind of a 2-tiered drink comp system where if you play up to a certain level, your light will flash instead of remain solid, which means you're eligible for a higher level of comping drinks, where I would assume you're certainly guaranteed those menu drinks. But we didn't try our hand at ordering them for the low rolling players.
What research are you doing? You have this big spreadsheet that you want to do, and you're out there doing very little recon work for us.
We have a podcast, Jack.
And have a podcast and a spreadsheet you sent James that has 80 columns in it of things he needs to fill out. And you sit down willy nilly and are just like, well, I don't know.
We'll have my people do it later, I think. One thing that came up at the Resorts World Center bar that my friend was kind of unclear about was how the drink monitoring system actually works. And I figured I'd share this on here just because if he was unclear about what's happening, then maybe I can shed some light on how it goes. I think the thing to understand with a lot of these drink monitoring systems is they're not actually keyed in at all with what drinks you have or haven't received. Like they are just the machine telling the bartender how much you've played through in the last couple minutes. And that's really all that they measure. And then it's generally up to the bartender's discretion of, given that this player is playing at this level and how quickly they finish their drink, etc., should I offer them another drink? And generally the rule is if the light's on and you finish your drink, they're going to come offer you another one, right? But it has nothing to do with like a meter that you're like, once you get a drink, the meter resets back down to 0 and then it has to fill up for you to get another drink, which is what my buddy kind of assumed was going on. He was like, oh, yours is going to get back to green a lot faster than mine, right? Because you're playing more. I'm like, what do you mean get back to green? And so we kind of had to suss that out. I think it's worth noting that if you're not really playing that much and you might be kind of on the wrong side of the light system, just make sure to play a bit quicker right before you order your next drink, and then you can slow it back down and get back to chatting after that.
Now, some are different though, right? Where like some of you can get a drink right off the bat, and then the system kind of goes, right? And then there's some where you have to play a bit before they'll comp you. Or am I just misremembering?
I think that's kind of consistent with what I'm saying, which is that, it's a measure of your coin in the last, like a rolling average of your coin in the last like 3 minutes, 4 minutes or something like that. So yeah, a lot of them, the light doesn't turn on until you've played 2 or 3 minutes enough to show that you have put in some play, right?
Okay. Yeah, I maybe I'm just feeling like there's quite a few bartenders out there who are just like, they don't care for the first drink. Like they'll just give it to you and then they'll start paying attention. Because it's happened to me at Chandelier, where I've had one where immediately sit down, they see I've got money in, they offer a cocktail. But then I've had another who was like, you got to play a bit. Like they saw me sit down, I asked for a drink or just asked about what they were comping, and like you got to play a bit, which I'm fine with. That's no big deal. But
my guess is that the bartender at Cosmo knew that if you're sitting down and putting money in, the chance that you don't make that first drink threshold is so low that it wasn't worth warning you. Like, hey, if you don't play, it's not comped, bro. He's just like, yeah, okay, this guy's going to play and we'll figure it out kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if you were wearing, the nice carpet jacket like you probably do, and they knew you were spending money.
It's out of stock. I did buy a tracksuit though, so I'll be set. Anyway, nice. Jack, your trip.
All right. We got out of the Crystal Bar, and the reason we got out was we wanted to make it to the Sand Dollar Bar back downtown around when it opened at 4, because I think there's only 6 or 7 machines at the bar there, and we really like playing there. It's a cool atmosphere. They're often playing like good music, not like live, but just over the PA. They're often playing some good tunes, and they have good beers on tap, kind of a rotating selection of Nevada craft beers. And they have full pay video poker at 50 cents for like all sorts of games, including some 99.5, 99.6, like some great games that you get to play there. I was playing mostly, again, bonus deluxe, except this time at 9.6 pay table, which is, I think, the best game on that machine if you play it properly. And I really do like just getting that bonus on any 4 of a kind. I was wondering what video poker games you guys like to play. Like oftentimes, I feel like half of video poker play is just like seeking out the games that you want to play, like My Ultimate X or stuff like that. Yeah. And then the other half is knowing how to find kind of the diamond in the rough on a bad machine and find like an okay game among bad games and just, playing the game for the bar you're at. But at this bar, like all the games have great pay tables. So like what do you guys gravitate towards?
Well, I'm the opposite. I have to get a lot better at recognizing and finding the best games because I just tend to settle in and be like, I don't care. I'm just going to play bonus poker or Ultimate X or just the ones that I am comfortable with. I just kind of settle into those and pay table be damned, which is not an effective way to be advocating for healthy gambling, if you will, which is what this podcast is all about, apparently. So I do have to be better at it. I want to get more into other games. Like I want to play more deuces, but I'm not practiced enough. And I'm not going to use videopoker.com to learn until they're a sponsor of ours. So I just have to bide our time, basically.
For me, I am most likely playing bonus poker. That's what I really like to play. I don't like getting just my money back when I get two pair. I'm like,
it's soul crushing.
It is, especially if you're playing multi-line, right? Like if I'm playing 3 or 5 line and you get dealt 2 pair and you don't get any full house with it, I'm livid. I'm so mad. So I'm probably playing that. I'm with Adam though. Like I know what, like, oh, this is 9.6 and this is 8.5 or whatever. But I'm not going through every game. I'm just looking at bonus poker usually at $1. And if it's 7.5, I'm playing. I'm not looking at anything else. There could be 40-30 jacks or better, and I just never looked at it. Because I'm like, okay, 98-ish%, it's fine.
Yeah, so I was playing my bonus deluxe there, and I got no 4 of a kinds, and I lost $500 playing 50-cent denom. And so I undid all my Resorts World winnings from previous that day. I had some good hits at Resorts World. I had gotten like a 4 of a kind 2s on a 10x for $1,000. Things were going great. So I made all that money at like a 97% game. Then we switched to like basically the best video poker game you can find in the tourist corridors, and I just lose my ass.
You know why?
At $2.50 a spin, I lost like 200 bets.
The reason why, Jack, is because you weren't playing scared.
Right.
And if there's anything to take away from
Cavalier.
This podcast is play with scared money.
Ramp that anxiety level up and lock in.
Yeah, too many beta blockers were bad.
Hey, are there Sand Dollar's hooked into the Plaza like reward system, right? So you're earning tier credits and comps.
I've never gotten a card at Plaza because
also great research.
I've never played there long enough that I would want them to rate that play, right? Like if I'm playing their lowest house edge games for 2 hours and that's it, that's not like worth it to get a card and get rated, right? Like
Is it not though? I mean, because then you're just since you've never had one,
Well, right, but that's
just
like
start.
as
What does it matter?
as savvy comp veterans like you, Adam, know that like the greatest weapon you have against the casino is like a blank card, right? Like when you haven't had a card at a property, the sky's the limit to what you can get as like bounce back offers and stuff. So you want to
Sure,
give them big play on fresh cards.
but
But
what's
are
the
you
point of having?
planning on doing that
Yeah,
at Plaza? Like you're
like
like,
what's
man,
Well,
I'm waiting for
I
my big
might
play
with
at
the way
Plaza.
other places downtown are going, right?
watch
Like
out, Plaza. This is a threat.
I don't, it's not about giving them like big play. It's about like at least giving them an average or give them a modicum of play. I imagine that I would get little to nothing for 2 hours of play at Sand Dollar, right?
Yeah, maybe this one particular session, sure. But I mean, like, what's the point of having a weapon if you're never going to unsheath it, right? Like, if you're just like waiting on a potential big day, but you could be passing up little gains of free play or whatever along the way until you finally say, all right, finally, I'm going to give Plaza some play.
Yeah, I think that's wise and good. Like I don't think
I didn't
you
mean that as wise and good. I was taking the opposite approach.
right, but I think it's wise and good.
Okay.
And I think part of the reason is I think that in general, you get back so little of what you put in comps from marketing offers. Like we always quote that you get like 30% of Theo back, but that's like not even true. That's like if you're a hosted player, they can offer you back like 30% of Theo in comps, which is to say of the losses that you're likely to incur to the casino, you
Sure.
can get like 30% back as a rebate. That's what I mean by theoretical loss, right? And you're going to get less of that on just a random marketing offer. And you're going to get even less when you're not playing enough to really cover a weekend room, right? Like I want to know that my play is going to have my rooms covered before I would even give a casino that I haven't played at before any play on that card, right? Because what are they going to do? Give me like a $10 food voucher and like $20 in free play. And then like I get that once, but now I'm a known low roller. It just, I don't see it as a plus.
But are you going to stay at Plaza?
That was going to be my question.
Right? Like, are you?
I might, I mean, I honestly, the Plaza would probably be the next place I would stay outside of the Derek Stevens properties. Like, I don't
Okay.
like any of the other operators downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's my thing. It's like knowing you and knowing the people that host this podcast. It's like you're going to stay at the Stevens properties, be like, I'm just going to go to the strip. Unless maybe you're with friends, you're on a trip like this. But
Right.
that was kind of my point. I think outside of like teaser offers, which holding out, that makes sense, like to your point. But like, I'm just thinking like, I'll just take a food voucher here or there. So for the next time downtown, or I'll have $25 free play, whatever. And I'll go use it, play for a bit, whatever. I'd rather do that because I know I'm probably never going to stay at Plaza unless Fountain Blue shuts down again. They get all their current furniture again. I probably came off too aggressive. I apologize. That wasn't.
No, that was great. I hope we didn't belabor the point. So at this point, I've had a fair number of cocktails at Resorts World. I've had a fair number of beers at Sand Dollar, and it's time for dinner at Latai. Latai, again, kind of, a block to the east off the Fremont Street Experience, but on Fremont. It's the chef Dan Coughlin, who is the same chef at 8 East at Circa. This was kind of his first spot in Vegas, was Latai. They're known, as far as we know, for their 3-color curry, where they have their like green, yellow, and red curry like all mixed together.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a vegetarian in the party with us. And, when they come in and ask, oh, any dietary restrictions, allergies, anything like that, she was like, oh, I'm vegetarian. And they're like, okay, what you want to do on the menu is look for the things that are labeled vegan, because the things that are labeled vegetarian might not be, because they have like fish sauce in them or something. And I was like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Totally standard. Yeah.
Like, why? I think she kind of was just like, I don't get this, and that's insane. And so I'm going to order some of the vegetarian dishes and just kind of hope. But like, I thought that was like a really weird thing to say, is that like, okay, ignore the stuff marked vegetarian and just order off the vegan menu, which was like even smaller, right? Also, we learned that the 3-color curry is not a thing. Like, multiple of us were planning on ordering that because it's like the chef's specialty. And the waitress was like, yeah, our chef, he doesn't want to do that anymore. We're not doing that.
It's actually too healthy.
Right. But I was impressed with the food there. It was good and cheap, and it is good Thai food.
Yeah, quirks aside, Lei Tai is great. Although I feel like they're violating some sort of health code by just not really adhering to what, like, you know, their menu, but whatever. It's downtown.
We were impressed though that you did need a reservation to get in. Like, so I had reserved a table for the 6 of us, and there was just a couple of 2 or 3 walking in before us, seeing the hostess stand out front, and they got told it would be like a 45-minute wait, so they just bailed. So I was actually pretty happy to have had a reservation there.
Oh, good for them.
Now we're liquored up, we got food in us, and it's time to get back to those craps tables at the D. My buddy TC, who the previous night was his first time ever rolling, and we're kind of having to baby him through all the bets, the come bets, when to add even odds, when to add odds, when the odds are working. We're trying to explain basically all of craps to him as we go, quite a few drinks deep here. But he just goes on an insane roll.
Nice.
Like, it's a busy table at the D, and they have those longer tables there. And so as a result, like, any long roll gets elongated by the fact that it's busy and the stuff slows down the more and more bets get out there. And he stumbles upon, just through no even intent of his own, he stumbles upon our vaunted continuous come strategy, where like he just kind of just keeps leaving it out there and then keeps betting, and it never loses. So the bet just stays out. It gets up on more numbers. He got to the point where he had every number covered with odds and just kept betting the come. And they kept paying him some like weird amount, some barber pole amount of like greens, reds, and blues with the way that his odds were working. But it was just an insane experience for someone who had played craps for like 30 minutes the night before and was now just like had the whole table yelling for him.
And that's not going to be good, because now he's going to think,
Yeah.
oh man, craps, I'm going to win all the time. And then he's going to do continuous come, and he's going to get 5 numbers up there and get wiped out.
Yeah.
That's
no,
awesome,
he and I got punished at the craps table later on in the trip. So
okay, good to hear.
Managed to show him a good time. Yeah.
No, I mean, like, that's, to me, like, that's some of the most fun. Like, when you have a new player at the table, they're going just on an absolute tear. Everybody's cheering for them. Like, they're getting into it. Like, that, to me, that's the most fun.
Yeah, you have to tell him, pick that up, that's yours. And he's like, what's this? Pick that up, that's also yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's so fun.
And then they're like touching the dice with 2 hands, and you're like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, like, I think there's a lot of people like don't like playing with new players. It slows down the game, whatever. Like, I actually think it's really fun. Like seeing them have a good time. Like, I feel like it's like a kid or whatever. But like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just cool to see somebody like get into it, like learning the game, having fun while doing it. It's best if it's not like a bunch of terrible rolls, but that's cool.
So at this point, I'm getting pretty tired and want to get a little hydrated before bed. So we head up to the view bar to plink away at their quarter bonus poker progressive. I was kind of explaining that now that there's no machines at Golden Gate that are linked with it, the progressive is back to being contained fully within that view bar again. And so it's like, oh yeah, if you see that, counter reset back to $31.25, it means someone hit it. It's me, Josh, and TC up there at the bar having drinks. And TC's obviously, he's the one that's new to all of this for the most part. I remember at some point seeing the progressive reset from like $38 down to 31 and being like, wait a minute, who hit it? And then I'm like, what's going on? Who hit the progressive? And TC's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I got 4 queens. We look over and sure enough, it's like, oh, all right. So he knocked that one off. So at about like 10:45, I've gotten some water in me. I'm feeling better, but I'm feeling pretty tired at this point, having been up since probably like 5:45 in the morning. I decide I need some peanut butter covered pretzels and to hit the sack. They had them in the gift shop, so that was a big win for me. I get up the next morning again before 6, and I see a text from Josh and TC from 2:50 in the morning with a palm full of chips from the downtown Grand. They say, we got all our money back and we're going to bed. And so some 4 hours after I bid them adieu, they were still up and finding a table to play at. So
hearing that downtown Grand has tables open that late is
I think they stay open most of the time on the weekends.
Weekends,
so like
okay.
Thursday night
sense.
through Sunday night, I think it's mostly open, other than like the bad morning hours, like 4 to 11 or something like that. At least that's what I recall hearing on the most recent Downtown Grand update. But yeah, I gave them some shit for that, because I knew for a fact that I wanted to get up early and be a contributing member of society, so to speak, this Sunday morning. And so what I did is I played a bit more at Circa, again, using my patented scared money tactic of trying not to throw away the like small gains I'd had on the trip up to this point. I think between everything that we did, I'm probably up like $400. And so I was pretty enthused about that. And so I didn't want to give too much back. I think I put in 250 because I had a spare $50 bill from the cashier at the D. I don't know why they give those out. They should know better.
Who's giving 50s?
I hit like a straight flush pretty early on and kind of just pocketed that win. So I'm up 600 on the trip and I'm heading to Cosmo. I was leaving downtown in the morning around like 8 a.m. And at this point, I kind of wanted to check in both with you guys, but also with myself with the question of just like, how do we feel about downtown? Because my short answer is that I thought this might be the last trip that we committed to staying downtown because of some of the shit that's going on. And after that, I was like, no, we gotta do a day downtown again. It's still great. That's my short answer.
So I'm glad we're talking about this because
You sound like a therapist.
I sent this to you and I posted this on the Twitter, and I want to find it. Well, I'm not going to find the exact thing. My friend Dan, who's a great guy. He's the one that we did $250 like group polls in the Win high limit room. He was like, love your podcast, but I can't believe how much you shit on downtown. He's like, that's the only thing I don't like about it. And I was like, well, downtown is not my jam, so suck it up. And he also made a comment on the Twitter thread of like, Circa's just like Win. And a bunch of people came at him for that.
Okay, deserved.
Deserved. I've never done a downtown trip, so maybe I'm not the person to answer this. I have never stayed downtown outside of one single night when I was driving through Vegas and only did a one night stay, and I didn't like do downtown. I go there almost every trip, but like I just don't see how it's any different from just staying somewhere on the strip. Like I'm not seeing that extra value from being downtown.
Yeah, to be fair, Dan, he seems like a nice guy. If this counts as shitting on it, then be prepared because there are things we could really shit on. But no, like I brought it up earlier, where it's like so much of what made downtown great for several years in like the mid 2010s was like it was so drastically different from the strip, just price wise, but just energy wise, and it's gotten away from that a little bit, where the prices are not. The chasm is not as great anymore, but at the same time, I think it definitely has a vibe. It's been a while since I've been there in the evening, probably a couple of years actually. But every time I've stayed downtown, I've enjoyed myself. I love the casino hopping down there. There's some great video poker spots. There's some really good spots just to roll up to a craps table fairly easily, and just even if you have a bunch of people. So I think it serves a really good purpose for a lot of people. It's just for the last couple of years, it just hasn't really been my jam. It's just not where I want to play. And that's maybe like a bougie thing to say, but it's like, yeah, I like spending more time now at Cosmo and Palazzo and Aria and stuff. But I think on particular trips, if you're with the right group, like, yeah, you can have a ton of fun down there, especially on the cheap if you're doing it right.
I think it depends on what you're getting too. Like my buddy Dan, he's like, I have the best host at Circa. Like I get all this stuff. And it made me think of like flying on different airlines, right? Like if I don't have any status on an airline, I think it's the worst airline ever because I have to sit with the peasants like back near the bathroom.
We're getting so bad reviews for this. Yeah.
I'm just saying the entire experience of flying on a different airline than like where I have my status is just not a great experience. So if I'm going downtown and I'm giving up being able to stay at an MGM property for free and getting some free play, and so I think that has something to do with it as well.
I'm interested to hear more from Dan because it's interesting to feel like I want to stay at Circa but be downtown, because that seems almost like
right.
That does, like if I'm staying in a place that's nice as Circa, I don't want to walk outside and be downtown.
Well, and that's what I think that's what he's saying. I think my guess is he doesn't really leave Circa that much, so maybe it's not really downtown.
Dan, do you like downtown?
Exactly. I'll ask him that.
So I guess my longer answer, and I don't want to go too far into this because we've made it through one day of this trip thus far, but is that it doesn't have to be better value than the Strip to be a good alternative, right? Like in the same way that, like, let's say we were at Cosmo a lot and Adam was like, I've actually been liking Palazzo a lot lately. I'd be like, why? Is it better value than Cosmo? And it's like, no, it's just different. It's a different thing to experience, and it's something to do on a trip where you know you're already going to be on the Strip. You might as well spend some time there because you're going to get a different experience there.
Yeah.
And there are things about it that are better. Like there's no analog of the sand dollar on the Strip, and there's
That's
no
fair.
analog of the craps tables at the D. Like there's craps tables at other Strip properties where that you can get $15 tables, but it's not quite the same, right? Like the ambiance is different, the clientele is different, and it's not necessarily that downtown is like scummier or dirtier or worse, right? It's more of a party atmosphere. It's younger, and there's just different vibes going on there that are worth also experiencing.
That's fair. Yeah, and I'm thinking like we'll talk about my trip in the next part 2. But like I think too, like when you have a group, especially a group with varying bankrolls, it's much easier to find something to do downtown that everybody can do as a group, which is why I'll probably spend at least an afternoon or an evening downtown, because that makes it much easier, especially with all the casinos so close to each other.
And I think, to be honest, I'm just like trying to take a little more contrarian view, since I got called out last week or 2 weeks ago for being too Switzerland when I was saying, oh, everyone can do whatever they want. So, I'm taking Jackson.
Everyone can do whatever they want on the Strip.
On the Strip, yeah.
On the Strip.
Downtown, get it together.
This coming from the guy who spends at least 5 nights a year at the Rampart and JW Marriott out in Summerlin.
So I get to Cosmo around 8:30 in the morning, and my stated agenda is that I want to check in to a room. I'm looking in my app as I'm just kind of waiting in line, because there's maybe like, I don't know, 5-6 people waiting to check in. And indeed, a woman comes through, an employee that asks like, hey, are you guys like looking to check in or check out? Because if you're checking out, you don't need to stand in this line. You can just bop, 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 boop, 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 or whatever, right on the app and get through it. And so she's just making sure that we're all actually indeed there waiting to check in. I'm looking on my phone and I see that I have like a 1 bedroom at the Cosmo. I was like, that's weird. I had just talked with Adam and James about how I prefer the studio layout to the 1 bedroom layout. And I think I would have booked the studio. And so I checked like my email confirmation. Yeah, I booked the studio, but they upgraded me to the 1 bedroom. It's all neither here nor there, because I get up to the desk. I explain what I just said to you to the guy at the desk, that, hey, I prefer one of these 2 room types, but really what I want is to get into a room now so that I can go exercise and have somewhere to come back and shower and change and not have to just like bell desk my bags and that kind of stuff. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll take a look. But it looks like for both of those room types, we can't get you into anything right now. And so I asked, like, is there any upgrades available? Because I'm not opposed to paying to get into a room. And he's like, well, it does look like we have a wraparound terrace fountain view available, but I'll need to check if it's one that we can actually get you into versus one that we could just sell you and then you'd still have to wait. And so he calls the guy and does his, I've got Mr. Mulaney right here, and and he can't really hear anything beyond that.
It's like the deal or no deal guy. Like, who are we calling?
He's calling the banker. Yeah. Yeah. So at this point, I'm kind of going through in my head, like, what is my willingness to pay to get into a room right now? Because whatever number he quotes me, it's going to be for 2 nights, that Sunday night and Monday night. And given that he's upgrading me to basically the nicest room they offer, other than those like by email only, like bungalows and villas and stuff like that, like the terrace wraparound fountain view, I think is the top of the line suite at Cosmo. And so I'm like, okay, given that it's kind of a baller room, even though it's going to be lost on me, like, what am I willing to pay for that? And I come up with that, I think $120 a night. I'd be willing to pay. And any more than that, I'm snap accepting 120 or lower. And then above that, I have to decide if it's worth it to get into a room or not.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I already have the room I want booked.
And it's just you. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And he comes back and says, it looks like we can get you right in, and it'll be $100 a night. And I'm like, phew. I don't have to like
Perfect.
bargain with the price I already set. So yeah, that was just perfect. And I get into the room and it is actually really cool. There's kind of like a weird hallway when you first get in to kind of just get you out to the corner of the building where like you're kind of squeezing in between two other rooms to get into your room. And then and then it kind of opens up to like a kitchen with a wet bar, a living room, and then the bedroom and master bath. I think one thing that's kind of interesting about these high-end suites of the Cosmo is that they have the same fit and finish as kind of the standard rooms. Like everything there is appointed kind of in the same way. The only thing I noticed that might be a little nicer is I thought the linens were less scratchy. Like I've thought about this before when staying at Wynn, where it's like you towel off from the shower and you're like, man, I'm staying at the nicest hotel in Vegas, and it's the same kind of scratchy white towel you get at the gym or at, you know, just anywhere you stay. Like the towels just can't stay nice for very long. You
It's all bleached up.
You can't get the towels you have at home at a hotel, kind of no matter where you're staying, it feels like. But this was like this was different. I feel like maybe they cycled the newer linens through these nicer suites, or maybe I just got lucky, but the towels were very plush. And that's talking.
That's talking towels.
So I go for my normal long morning walk. It takes me about 2-ish hours to get around the whole strip. And that's kind of part of the reason I felt so comfortable paying that extra fee to get in, is because I knew it's kind of like a health tax. Like I'm going to get my exercise in this morning if I spend this money, and I won't be just sitting at the bar gambling. So it's like truly money well spent. I get back around like 11. I shower. I head down to Naughty Patty's, Cosmo's newest lunch edition, right around 11:30 when they open. As someone who has only ever had one cheeseburger before, and that was the Shake Shack cheeseburger on the Delta plane.
Wait,
no, I'm just kidding.
Hang on.
But I'm going to compare it to that because it was eerily similar. I think that, I mean, it was a good burger, but it was not that much better than just a Shake Shack burger. And it was not that much bigger than a Shake Shack burger. And it was $16, and that doesn't come with a side or a drink.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
So I thought like the ingredients and everything was great, it was just like, that's one of those, hey, if I have a lunch credit, if I'm just looking to spend money, I'll get it. But it's at no point would be better than just like going to the Henry and paying, like, because I paid like $25 for just fries and a burger, and you could probably get better food for the same price at like the Henry or some of the other things at that food court.
But think of the tier credits you got.
Right. I did charge it to my room. So
Smart.
probably didn't get any tier credits though, because I had like a F&B credit, but neither here nor there. So Naughty Patties, the food is great. I thought the fries, they asked you if you wanted like the plain fries. They didn't use the word plain, but they said, do you want like the crispy fries or the dirty fries? And I was like, I'll just take the regular fries.
Dirty. Oh, what's the point of this podcast naming if we're all right? Never mind.
They had quite a bit of seasoning on them, actually. I thought it was really good. They really well seasoned French fry there. And so like the food was great. I was very happy with the burger and fries. It should be half the price in any other city. Then I pick up my favorite nitro iced tea from the sushi bar there and head on down to the Chandelier bar to try to get the elusive Handy at the Shandy. And I see two of my favorite day shift bartenders there, Greg and Brandy. Greg, I've been really enjoying a lot. I've been talking kind of cocktails with him, as I tend to do with various bartenders. And I got him to make me a Trinidad Sour as my first drink there, which is a drink that's notable for its main ingredient being Angostura bitters. So, like cocktail bitters that you generally add like a few dashes of to a Manhattan or an old fashioned. Yeah. This drink calls for a full 1.5 ounces of them as the main spirit. And it's called a Trinidad Sour because those bitters are made in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great drink. It's kind of got a bit of that kind of like island spice tiki flavor in the orgeat that they use to sweeten it up. And it's just kind of like a regular sweet and sour drink with that large amount of bitters in it.
I'm a bit taken aback because it's like, I know them from like the standard cocktails that I like putting it. I'm like, people say I put in more bitters than needed. Like I'll do like 5 or 6 dashes, but I'm thinking like a whole ounce. I don't know what that would do, but if you say it's good, I'm gonna believe you. Yeah, but you also like Malort, so
I'll have to. No, it's actually a very pleasant flavor to take like a shot of Angostura bitters. It is much more palatable than taking like a shot of vodka, for instance, I would say, even
Okay.
though it is like 46% by volume. I get an early quad up to like $1,400 on my $1,000 buy-in. I've got my Trinidad Sour. I just walked 9 miles. I'm basically on top of the world. And bam, the world first, handy at the shandy on the top line.
Wow.
I've got 3 312 multipliers running, and I get my $100 hit on that 12x for a clean $1,200 min and pay.
Unbelievable. I wish we had a soundboard.
So what did you hit?
I was holding a pair of twos
Mm.
on 3 312, and I got a 3 of a kind twos, nothing, 4 of a kind twos for $1,200.
Now,
Nice.
do you do what I do when that happens and say, man, if I was only playing deuces?
No, because that's one of the reasons I don't like playing deuces. I think is kind of goes the other way. I mean, there's some
Yeah.
FOMO when you hit the deuces on a regular game, but like if you hit like 4 kings
Oh yeah,
on
it's
deuces
nothing.
and it pays you like the same as like a straight or whatever, like
Yeah.
I don't know, very, very displeasing. And so I wouldn't be able to like go back and forth between games like that. So yeah, world first, handy at the shandy. This is going to be the last episode of the podcast now that we've achieved what we set out to do.
Thank God.
But one thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, and this came from an interesting discussion with the bartender Greg there, because when he served me that Trinidad Sour in a kind of like coupe, somewhere between like a coupe glass and a martini glass, I commented, I was like, oh, are these glasses new? Like, I feel like I haven't seen these before. He's like, oh yeah, I think they're a couple months ago. I hate them. This is him talking. He says, I hate them. I think all the glassware we've gotten since MGM took over is just shit. And I was kind of curious. I asked him, like, because I wanted to get the inside scoop, like, is there anything that's gotten better since MGM took over, or is it actually just all bad? Right. Because I couldn't really come up with something that I thought that someone that works on the other side of the bar from me would actually think is better. And so I was like, yeah, is there anything that's actually improved since MGM took over? And he kind of laughs and he goes, no. In fact, I quit. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, I quit. I quit 3 days ago. This is the last time you're going to see me here. And I was wow.
That's a prevailing sentiment. And just coming from someone who likes MGM properties, but when I was at Fontainebleau in May, I talked to 3 employees. There was no one around. And they had all left MGM. And I said, would you ever go back? They said, not in a million years. Like, they were treated so much better at Fontainebleau. They like the atmosphere better. This is not to rag on MGM or whatever's going on internally there. I'm sure there are employees who do like working for MGM, but that is a prevailing sentiment right now. Beyond just like the infrastructure stuff and, you know, the little things like the glassware, and at least the linens were good, but like the employees are not overwhelmingly not enjoying working there.
One of the main things he cited, he was like, Cosmo used to be cool. Like, there used to be cool people. And he kind of like gestured at me as if like I was included in the group that made Cosmo cool, which is
cool.
Kind of alarming. He was like, now my bar just gets filled up with Bozos from the Luxor that like, and it's great that he can say all this, you know, you can say whatever you want on your last day of work. And he's like, yeah, ever since MGM took over, this place is just filled with Bozos from the Luxor. And I thought that was a remarkable thing to say, because like at our hearts, we're all kind of Bozos from the Luxor, right? Like, we were never what made Cosmo a hit place to be.
Yeah, but you were tipping him at the time. So if anybody, it could have been anyone sitting across the bar. If they're tipping me, I'm going to be like, you make this place cool.
Yeah. But I thought that was a real bummer. He's the guy, I don't know if you'd recognize him, but my buddy TC saw him and tried to say he looked like Stevie Nicks. I was like, Stevie Nicks is a woman. He's like, no, he looks like whoever's on the cover of Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. And I think it's Mick Fleetwood, but he looks like, go look up that album cover. He's the guy with the long hair and the big beard that kind of looks like that. But you won't see him at Cosmo anymore. So that's a real bummer. He's pretty cool.
Do you know where he's going?
He made it pretty clear that he's just going to be like out like in the woods for a bit, you know,
just
decompressing. And then I think he's going to go back to school, he said.
Okay,
So
well, good for him.
Do a career change. Yeah.
Unlike him, I don't think everybody who says that the Luxor is a bozo. So we just need to get that out there into the public. But it's interesting that was his perspective. Like, the clientele were different and not what I would think he was going to say, just like operationally.
I think he just knows that that's not that wouldn't be interesting to the average person, that
Mhm.
is talking about the bar. Like if he's like, yeah, and then the EDR, the chicken was colder than it used to, you know, I mean, like I don't, he probably
Right.
just didn't want to complain about uninteresting things, right?
Sure, that's fair.
But and maybe it was a really marked difference, like in the people showing up, like once the loyalty program switched over, because you know they kind of had two transition dates. They had the day that MGM was their boss, and then
Mhm.
they had the day that the loyalty program switched over, and they started to see more of those MGM people be able to, you know, get comps at the property and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
maybe that was the more recent switch over to him that was salient. I don't know.
I wonder. I mean, just anecdotally, it seems like all the people that I knew who like Cosmo still play at Cosmo a heavy amount and still like Cosmo. So I don't know, but I mean, he obviously has way more experience than I do. He's in there every day.
Right.
I'll say the last few times that I've been there, I have not sat there and been like, I think this is a Luxor crowd. Like I feel like the crowd is pretty hip and are going up to the shandy and ordering $80, you know,
Tito's, double Tito's and
Yeah,
soda. Yeah.
exactly.
Johnny
So,
Blue.
but as Adam said, like I mean, I'm there like twice a year, so I'm not seeing it come in every day.
We're also just three aging men who are like, no, this is a hip place. This is
Well, yeah.
what a crowd.
What a crowd! Look at these people. They're like me. They're like
Yeah.
me.
Oh my gosh. They gotta look at their New Balances on. I love this place.
Man, yeah.
So after hitting that hand pay, I'm probably up about, you know, 1,700, $1,800 at this point. You know what's cooler than being cool? Ice cold is how the machine went after this point.
God.
That's how you know I'm part of the hip crowd.
Yeah, I
It's
was
with
saying,
these
I was
contemporary
expecting
references.
something way more creative, but yeah, no, let's go
The
with this.
machine, I think I lost about $1,900 from that point, just straight down.
Ooh.
So I'm at the point where I've already put the hand pay back into the machine and lost it about 2 hours later, and I'm now down $200 on at the shandy, despite this momentous and miraculous occasion that I was able to witness. But I managed to hit a couple, like, you know, fun serendipitous quads, including like a, you know, regular $62 four of a kind, but on a 12X for $750. So I blast it back up and probably still end up winning a few $100 on the session. But what, like, this made me realize, like, what an insane game this Ultimate X is that I play. Like, it's so dumb. Like, why do I do this? But I managed to sit at that bar for like 6 hours, which was, again, what I was trying to do. We had a hard out at like 6:10 to get over to Zetinia at the Forum Shops for dinner. And at this point, I had a lot of drinks, and I don't really remember what all we ordered. That we ordered just a bunch of stuff. Like, I remember I put in for like a particular appetizer and the beef, and then other people got, you know, a lamb kebab or a falafel. I mean, it's all kind of Mediterranean cuisine, small plates that they have there. We just kind of, everyone just went around the table. We all just split a few pieces off of whatever we ordered for everyone. It was a great time. I think the total bill for the six of us was, and they included a 20% gratuity. And I think the total bill for the six of us ended up being like $85 a person, which was
great.
And there were a few cocktails thrown in there. Whoever didn't order cocktails lost out because they ended up subsidizing ours, I guess. But it really wasn't all that expensive, including tax and tip. So I was pretty enthused. I'd be pretty happy to go back there, especially with a group.
Could you get Caesar's points on that?
Didn't ask.
I mean,
don't know.
Probably not if it's in the shops, but
yeah, I wouldn't know.
Did you do any legitimate research on this trip?
No, that's the thing about going on a trip with like friends, is that I spend so little time actually writing notes or cataloging stuff the way I would if I had like a podcast that I was going to be reporting.
Yeah, you have a job now.
Well, we'll see how you do this next weekend.
Well, I'm never good at that.
You're gonna, okay, you're going to be on the hook immediately.
I used to release a podcast once a year. I don't think I can be on the hook for any sort of informational stuff.
All right, my mistake. I'm sorry. At this point, again, pretty liquored up. I end up forgetting my credit card at the restaurant, and I get a call from them by the time I'm back at like Bellagio, and it's like, I'm not going back there tonight. We'll just get it tomorrow. Right?
Not asking about tier credits is forgiven, given what you left behind there. So that's
yeah.
How are we supposed to believe that it was $85 a person? Like, you said, you don't remember.
Oh no, I have a picture of the receipt,
okay.
and then I had all my friends Venmo me
Okay.
for their sixths of it. So
Gotcha.
I do actually have pretty solid police footage on that one.
Hmm.
So at this point is when, you start making mistakes on your Vegas trip, which is that I went back to the Chandelier bar and kind of kept ordering drinks. I was like, oh, I'm not going to be on like the Manhattans or Old Fashioned. I'll switch to like a highball or something a little more slow sipping. And I was drinking Fernet and Coke. But that was like, I think mostly Fernet and not a lot of Coke. And
give me that bottle of bitters, please.
Yeah, that's kind of mostly, that's not too dissimilar from what Fernet is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But part of the reason I stayed up so late and kept drinking is that the credits on my machine just kept going up, up, up. Like I remember being like somewhat confused as to how they had gotten so high. It's like, well, yeah, I know I hit this quad here. I hit this $600 four aces there, stuff like that. But it was one of those just like turn 1,000 into 3,000 without like noticing what happened sort of sessions. And so that was kind of a blast. Other than that, now it's like 1 a.m. and I'm like, the craps table. we have to do that before bed. And so all my friends have gone to bed except for my buddy TC, who is never one to back away from a bad idea. And so we go and buy in at the Cosmo craps table and we just get wiped out. I think we both lost just like $1,000 in like 30 minutes. There was like one good shooter that made like 4 points and then every other roll just sucked shit. I don't think on this trip throughout the various craps sessions I played, I rolled a single point myself or resolved a single comeback in my favor. It was just all the worst rolls.
So these are the stories that I hear from Jack. Oh man, I didn't even know how it was up $2,000.
Yeah.
And, oh man, I got wiped out by 1,000. So when he sat there and he's like, I put $400 in at $1 single line, and boy, was I scared. That's where it didn't make any sense to me.
But part of it is that I don't think it was that I was scared. It was that I knew I was going to stick to my plan. Like I was not putting in a fifth 100. And so if I run out of this, I do have to find something else to do downtown Las Vegas at 6:45 in the morning before my friends like make it to the donut shop, right?
You're scared of change. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm scared of the people that on the street that I'd be expelled out into. But
I was going to say I'd be afraid downtown at 6:45 a.m. too.
Do not shit on it. What was the minimum at the craps table?
It was 25.
It was 25? Okay.
Yeah. Which for a Saturday night at this point, night at like 1 a.m., that's basically what you're going to expect. I think maybe we walk past a 50, but they can't help themselves. They'll just, if a table's hot, they'll just turn up to 50 and see if anyone bites kind of thing, right?
Is this Saturday night? Sunday night?
Oh yeah, Sunday
going
night.
Back and forth.
Night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you drunk
Sunday
now?
night?
Because
No,
okay.
I have the dates wrong on one of my two notes here.
Gotcha, I just don't know what the changeover is, because sometimes you can get those $15 tables at Cosmo, even Bellagio sometimes, like on a Monday morning. So I'm just curious of like what time they're. Yeah. But if it's busy, it's busy. They're going to put 25 out no matter what.
Yeah, we saw some 10s at Resorts World. We saw 15s at Cosmo during the day. I mean, they have ramped it back down in a lot of ways, but those primetime nights are still pretty popular. And there were a lot of tables open, and they were all pretty popular at the Cosmo. I feel like the last time I was in town, on the night that we left, we were kind of waiting for a craps table to open because they only had two open, one regular and one crapless. And at 9 p.m., 3 new full sets of dealers came in and they opened 3 tables on like a Monday night at 9. And then all 5 tables were running and had people at them. So I think they still do a brisk craps business over there. What do we say we call it here for hour 1 and maybe get to the rest of my trip report a bit later? We really only have 1 day left, and it starts with me, believe it or not, being tired and hungover. So,
yeah,
that sounds good to me.
Well, for Boring Jack, I'm Adam the Fraud, and I'm Table Games James, and we'll see you in hour 2.